New study proves X causes cancer. Experts link Y to autism. Z is destroying your health. You've probably seen headlines a lot like this. They're dramatic, they're scary, and they're designed to make you click. But here's the truth. Most of the time, they don't mean what we think they do. Hi, I'm Summer. I'm a leadership keynote speaker and trainer, and this week I want to give you the tools to tell the difference between good science, bad science, and scary headlines. And I'll share why our brains are wired to believe the negative before the positive and what we can do about it. Now, news outlets want attention. That's their currency. A headline that says,
maybe, kind of, in some limited circumstances, there might be a possible link,
that doesn't sell. So it gets cut down to X causes Y. And the problem, this shortcut leaves us with fear instead of facts. Fear spreads faster than nuance. Now, here's the first thing to remember. If you remember a few weeks ago when we were talking about Tylenol and autism, we talked about correlation. And correlation is when two things show up together. It doesn't mean that one causes the other. So the example that we shared was ice cream and drownings. When ice cream goes up, drownings go up, simply because both are hot weather activities. Another real example of correlation, per capita cheese consumption in the United States strongly correlates with the number of people who die each year by becoming tangled in their bedsheets. Yes, I am being very serious. There are charts that show this. Now, does that mean that cheese is deadly? Not in that way. Does it mean that eating an extra slice of cheddar makes your bed sheets more dangerous? No, it doesn't. It's a coincidence. Two trends that move in the same direction without one causing the other. And this is what happens when many of those scary health headlines. Researchers may have found a correlation. The media spins it into causation. So correlation, two things happen at the same time. They're not related. Causation, this causes this. Now, how do we know if a study is worth trusting? Well, a few things. Replication. Has the result been found more than once by more than one group of researchers? Sample size. Was the study big enough to be reliable? If a study is only examining 10 people in a lab, that does not carry the same weight as studying thousands of people tracked over years. The method. Were the researchers observing, or was there a randomized controlled trial where variables could be isolated? Peer review. Has it been tested and critiqued by other experts, or is it one individual that has come out and said, a single study rarely proves anything. It's the body of evidence that matters. When one study happens, do other researchers replicate it and get the same results? Okay, let's talk about why we're so quick to believe the scary headlines. Because the science doesn't matter if our brains don't know what to pay attention to. It's not just the media. Humans are wired with something called negativity bias. Thousands of years ago, our ancestors survived by paying more attention to threats than to comfort. If you missed the rustle of a predator in the grass, you didn't survive. If you missed the beauty of a sunset, you still lived. That wiring has never left us. Today, our brains still process negative information more strongly than positive. That's why criticism stings more than praise, and why bad reviews stick around a lot longer than good ones, and why a headline about danger is more likely to get your click than one about safety. So next time you see one, pause and ask yourself, could this be a correlation? Could this be like cheese and bed sheets, or ice cream and drownings? Or is there actual causation, meaning this causes this? Is this one study, or is there a pattern across multiple studies? Who funded this research? Knowing where the money comes from counts. And has this research been replicated? Asking these questions, it helps us to slow down and look past the fear and better understand what information we're consuming and what information we're repeating. The good news is that while our brains are wired for the negative, they are also capable of change. And this is called neuroplasticity. This is our brain's ability to rewire, and it means that we can train ourselves to see more balance. Here are two simple ways that you can do that. The first is called 3-to-1 practice. For every negative thought or headline you notice, Intentionally look for 3 positives. It could be something as small as a kind word, a success at work, or even good weather. One of the things that I notice is when I don't get stuck in traffic driving in Dallas. Over time, this retrains your brain to balance the scales. Go back to what Mr. Rogers taught us. When you see all of the negative, look for the positive. Now, the second is to pause before you share, and this is so important. When you read a scary headline, stop before you repost or react. Ask yourself, is this fact or is it fear? By pausing, you give your logical brain a chance to catch up to your emotional brain. Here's the bottom line. Scary headlines are always going to exist. They sell. But you don't have to buy into them. We don't have to repeat them. We don't have to click on them. We don't have to share them. With the right tools, you can read with discernment and recognize when fear is being used as a tactic against you. And we can even be intentional about retraining our brain to focus on what's true, not just what's terrifying. So next time a headline shouts at you, pause, ask the deeper question. And remember that your brain may be nudging you toward the negative, but you have the power to steer it towards the positive. Our brain is our code, but we are the coder. We can change the way that it works. If this message lit a spark, stick around. Every week I share insights from the stage, lessons in leadership, humanity, and the kind of change that actually sticks. Whether you're leading a team or leading yourself, I promise to keep it real, relevant, and maybe just a touch rebellious. And until next time, don't forget, leadership starts with you, and you have got this. I'll see you next week.